Hi, my drawing friends. Welcome back to the studio. Let's get started talking about this high-key work of art. So at this point, I'll have assumed that you've finished your low-key work of art. And the low-key, just to review for that one, what you're doing is you're using the Conte or the charcoal, right? And so that's the sticks that appear like this, okay? And they're going to be more in a rectangular shape, okay? So for what we're doing this time around, we're going to be using the vine charcoal. And the vine charcoal appears more like this, and you can see that it's cylindrical. So vine or willow charcoal, it's the same thing. So I'm going to take one piece out here, and you can see it reacts a lot different than the charcoal or the Conte that you used this last assignment. So you can see it's basically a long tube, almost like a black straw without the middle being hollowed out. Okay, and you know, the way it works is you can press really, really hard on your paper with this, okay, and then you can almost immediately lift it, and so that's the real advantage. And it's a great tool. It has its limitations, but it certainly has its advantages. So it's really an advantage for working this high-key work of art. So just to review, our high-key work of art is our second of the two portraits that we're working. Just in the way of a review for the subject matter, now the first one needs to be completed from a human portrait. The second one can be a human portrait, or you can select to work from an animal of your choice. So I went on the Canvas site and I ended up adding some images from several free stock image sites. So they're not copyrighted, and you're welcome to use those. Or you can use in your own image, you know, a picture that you photographed yourself, something that maybe has a little bit more meaning to you, relative, family member, or pet, or something like that. That'd be great. Now what I'm doing is I'm preparing a ground, just like what we did on our low-key work of art. But this time, the big difference is I'm keeping these values really light. So just in the way of a review, we're looking at the values 8 through 10 on a value chart, okay? So values 8 through 10 is our goal, and we're not looking to go much darker than that range. Now there might be a couple pockets, and if that's the case, I'll show you a couple tricks in terms of how you can lighten those up. Okay, so I want to give you a couple general drawing tips. Number one, start with a reference that's fairly high key. Now again, the reference here is just a catalyst to kind of get you started, so don't worry so much about it being perfect. Another thing I'll mention is you watched a video that contained talking about things like using construction lines or plumb lines to line up different parts of the portrait. So you may want to print out two copies. So one, you can kind of go like what I'm doing here and lay down these construction marks just to get a little bit of a guide, right? This one's sort of there's a bit of ambiguity in the image, which is kind of nice. There's fabric that's draped around her head here, and it's a little hard to see in the photo and probably even harder to detect in the video, but I kind of liked it for that subtlety. So you can see there's some motion coming through here with these lines. But what you can do is I just wanted to show you how you can conveniently draw right across the top of your image if it helps, right? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back here to my drawing. I'm going to follow the same process and come in with a construction line, okay? And then I'm just going to go ahead and look at relatively the same proportions, all right, for my drawing here. Come down over here, and I'm going to have 1, 2, and 3. So here's the basic setup of my drawing, right? Now one thing I can do as I proceed on this drawing is look for those larger shapes first. And I can also draw a little bit more dark if I want to, and especially at these initial stages. Like for example, let me come in and render the eye here, and you can see I could come in and work it really extremely dark, about as dark as I can get this to go right here. Okay, and then our other eye is going to be coming off of this construction mark right here. Okay, and then the nose. The nose, there isn't a lot of detail right there, right? We don't want we don't want to over exaggerate the nostrils per se. Okay, so we have the nose, and the mouth is starting to come into this sort of shape. Now I can come back here and make some lines too to kind of understand, okay, well, if I come down here, I'm getting pretty close to the corner of the mouth, right? So that can be another landmark for me as I'm proceeding to work. Now, since this vine charcoal or Conte charcoal is new for a lot of you, so I want to show you again, you can use your chamois. In this case, I just used a crumpled up paper towel. It happened to be a Viva. Vivas work really well. But you can see I can use this for blending, to erase lines, to get into greater detail, right? So you can see there's not a lot of value here. What you might find is that this drawing is a little bit trickier than that low-key drawing, just because you have to render all this using such delicate means and really not a whole lot of value. So I'm going to be playing this game of coming in here and trying to render out the figure using very little value. Okay, so there's a nice basic start anyway. Far from finished, right? Because I need to come in and refine some other shapes, but I don't think you necessarily want to watch as I continue to draw, for the next 30 plus minutes, whatever it's going to take for me to refine this to my liking. Okay, maybe wouldn't take that long, but longer than I'm going to make you necessarily watch. Now I'm just going to come in, make refinements as I need to. I can certainly come in and hatch and add value and start to blend, okay? Or if there's an area I don't like, see how easy it is, I can just come out and pull out this value. Now another tool you might want to use is your kneaded eraser. And so here I just have a smaller piece of that kneaded eraser, right? But this is a brand new kneaded eraser. And one thing that I often like to do on this assignment to get the values lighter, I can use this to just come in and I can blot, right? So I can just blot out an area if I want to make it lighter. I already showed you how we can kind of wipe it down. But another one of my favorite techniques is what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this kneaded eraser and kind of turn it into like a Tootsie Roll, okay? It's going to turn this into a cylinder. I think of it as a Tootsie Roll. And then the nice thing is I can come in here and I can actually steamroll my drawing for a lighter value. So if I want to, I can come in here and let's say, oh, you know what? I want to do a high key. Not saying this is relatively dark at this stage, but let's say it was too dark at this stage of my drawing or whatever stage it is, and I want to come in and lighten it. See how I can just conveniently steamroll my charcoal drawing. Now the thing I want to let you know about the kneaded eraser here is as it gets dirty, it's a self-cleaning item. Meaning if I just go like this, and I just start to pull it, I can clean out that eraser. This one's actually, for being new, it looks like it's maybe been in my drawing kit for a while, because as they start to get old, they're not as malleable as when they're a little bit newer. So this one's been sitting around for a while, I can tell, but still plenty fine. But anyway, I'll start to warm it up here and it's going to work a little bit better. But you can see as I've gone like this, I've started cleaning out that eraser. And so this is the way you can clean the kneaded eraser out to keep drawing as it gets dirty. Okay, I'm going to transform it. A bit of a sculptor here too. But just to show you, I'll come up here and I can either blot. Once again, I can either blot or I can steamroll out those values. So the pressure is kind of off if you want to draw your drawing a little bit darker at this stage and then come in and refine. So just to show you like an extreme example here, if I wanted to add something that's pretty dark, I've got a couple options. I can come in and downplay it with that. I can blot it with the eraser, or I can steamroll it. So now this is something that's not as easily done with the charcoal or the Conte as it is with the vine or the willow charcoal. Hence, that's why we're using this for the high key. So you're going to craft a high key work of art. You're going to turn it in along with your low key for this assignment, looking for values 8 through 10, not grading you on the likeness. Overall effort, That's the name of the game on this one, okay? But again, don't be afraid to use plumb lines, construction lines. You know, I will continue to reestablish these in my drawing. So you can see I'm starting to lose them a little bit as I was starting to demo some things. So there's no need not to come back in here and start to reestablish these things, right? Probably have that side of the face a little too big, right? Come in here, reestablish it. And even though it looks like a little bit of a mess, actually, this drawing's got basically the bones in here, right? So I could start drawing the basic shapes first, and then coming in here and establishing the forms as I need them, right? Anyway, that should give you a quick little idea of how to work the high key and low key drawings. So I don't want to have this demo go too far and too much longer, because I'm afraid I'll lose your interest. So I'm ending it there. Let me know if you have questions along the way. Most importantly, just have fun with this and keep on drawing, my friends. All right, thanks a lot. Bye-bye.